Hey guys, so for this video I thought I'd show you my CD collection, starting with my classic rock collection. And the first one I wanted to show you guys is this one right here, Paranoid by Black Sabbath. So, this was released in 1970, and it was released back-to-back with their self-titled debut album. And the reason I thought I'd start with this album is because it's easily like one of the most influential rock albums of all time. So yeah, these guys essentially defined heavy metal as we know it. And a little something important I thought I'd share with you guys about this album is that it was released at a time when there were a lot of like anti-war protests going on towards the Vietnam War. And if you listen to the song War Pigs right here, it almost sounds as if they made the song to kind of protest the war and whatnot.
Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave their all to the poor.
So who knows? We got War Pigs, Paranoid, Iron Man, and so yeah, and those are definitely like three of their most widely recognized songs. And the next one I wanted to show you guys was this one right here, the very beast of Dio. And as you notice, there's kind of a funny little play on words going on right here. Instead of the very best, it's the very beast of Dio. And so, believe it or not, Dio and Black Sabbath actually have a history together. So, in 1979, Black Sabbath actually fired Ozzy Osbourne, and they replaced him with Ronnie James Dio, the lead singer of Dio. And they recorded a couple albums with Dio as their lead singer during the early 80s. So yeah, Black Sabbath and Dio go way back, and this isn't a studio album, but it does contain a lot of their biggest songs, including Holy Diver and Rainbow in the Dark, which is my personal favorite. So yeah, that was this is the very beast of Dio. And the next one I wanted to show you guys was Metallica's debut album right here. It's called Kill 'Em All. And it was released in 1983. And as it says right here, the album that started it all. So, in my opinion, this is probably the most thrash-oriented Metallica album. So yeah, we have the Four Horsemen, Whiplash, Seek and Destroy, three of the most decade-defining songs of the 1980s as far as rock and heavy metal goes. And a funny little thing I thought I'd share with you guys is about this album is that they were, believe it or not, they were originally going to call it Metal Up Your Ass. Because yeah, back in the day, Metallica did not give a fuck, I guess, and they even had like a completely different album cover planned. But I think they changed their mind at like the last minute because of like something to do with their record deal or something. I'm not too sure. And then 5 years later, they released this album right here. It's called And Justice for All, and it's their fourth studio album and their first album to feature a new bass player after Cliff Burton died in 1986. And it deals with a lot of topics that have to do with like political injustice, thus the name of the album, And Justice for All. And something I recently noticed about the album art is if you really pay attention, Lady Justice is being torn apart in 4 different places. And I thought it could have something to do with like the 4 members of the band or something. I'm not too sure. It's just something that kind of got me thinking. So anyways, let me see. We got whole bunch of amazing songs right here. We got Blackened and Justice for All, Eye of the Beholder, and the one most of you guys would probably recognize would probably be this song right here, One.
Darkness imprisoning me. All that I see, absolute horror. I cannot live.
Yeah, and then we also got The Shortest Straw and Harvester of Sorrow. These are all amazing songs. It's an amazing album. And then I showed you guys this one in one of my previous videos, Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. I did a little unboxing of this collector's edition of Fear in the Dark. It came with a little toy and an embroidered patch. So this album was released in 1992, and it's, as it says right here on the case, released in 1992. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I haven't actually had the chance to listen to this one in depth, but the one song I do recognize would be Fear of the Dark, because it's one of their biggest songs, and I will give the rest of the album a listen, the entire album a listen when I have the chance. And if any of you guys have heard this album and recommend any of these songs besides Fear of the Dark, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'd like to know what you guys think of this album. And so yeah, those were my classic, like, heavy metal albums. And a couple more rock albums I wanted to show you guys, depending on your definition of classic rock, would be a couple that I have right here. So the first one is Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails. And I first started listening to these guys when I saw them live in San Antonio last year at the River City Rock Fest. So yeah, what blew my mind about this album when I first listened to it is that I could have sworn that it came out during like the 2000s or something, but as it turns out, this is actually his debut album, and it came out in 1989, which blew my mind, because like, I personally feel like the style was way ahead of its time. And something funny I thought I'd share with you guys, I don't know if you've seen the most recent episode of Black Mirror. Sorry, I'm trying to avoid the glare. So, I don't know if you've seen the most recent episode of Black Mirror, but Miley Cyrus actually does a pop cover of Head Like a Hole, which I thought was kind of cool.
I can't take it, so don't you fake it. I know your love's my destiny.
And yeah, I can see how a lot of 9 Inch Nails fans would find that repulsive, but personally I thought it was kind of cool. And I'll leave a link to the full song in the description to this video so you can decide for yourself whether you like it or not. And then the last album I wanted to show you guys was this one right here. It's called 10 by Pearl Jam, and it was released in 1991, and definitely one of the most decade-defining albums of the grunge scene during the 90s. And it's one of the many bands that I feel were kind of overshadowed by Nirvana, because they were like the biggest name in like the grunge scene at the time. And let me see, so we got Once, Even Flow, Alive, but I think one of the more widely recognized from this album was probably Jeremy. But the first three are my favorite: Once, Even Flow, and Alive. And yeah, so that's about it. I guess I'll see you guys in my next video.